everybody, I am here today with a video about 10 ideas for celebrating Yule. So welcome if you're new here and welcome back if you've been here before. It's sticking up there. Okay, we're good. I am here with some ideas for celebrating the Yuletide season, and I like to think of things that are realistic, probably integrated into what you're already doing, and are not super expensive, that are affordable. Because hey, let's face it, it's expensive out there right now, let's face it. And so I like to keep things realistic because there are lots of channels you can go onto that show you all sorts of, amazing over the top rituals and decorations and all sorts of things that, I mean, that's great if you can do that for sure. However, a lot of us do not have the time, the space, or the energy, quite frankly, to do all of those things. So I have some ideas here, like I said, probably integrated into what you are already doing for the holiday season. So let's get started with my ideas for celebrating and honoring the time of Yule. So the first one that I'm going to have is putting up a holiday or Christmas tree. You probably already do that. Now, let's face it, even people that aren't Christian are celebrating Christmas. A lot of us, it is a secular holiday, holiday that we celebrate. But even so, a lot of us put up Christmas trees, holiday trees, whatever you want to call them. The tree is often a central focal point of the home at this time. And if we think of what trees, what trees symbolize, like especially evergreen trees, it is about things being green, things being hopeful, even in times of darkness and winter. So saying that there is still life, even if it is cold and dark outside. So they are, to me, they're very pagan, and they are emblematic of sort of this central focus of kind of, you think of the Christmas tree, we put like our decorations on there, we put gifts underneath, we put them in our living rooms, we put them we put them like in the front window for other people to see, like they're definitely a focal point. I think that Christmas trees are a wonderful way to celebrate the season. And to me, like there's so many sort of like pagan stuff integrated into Christmas anyway. It just makes it super easy to like celebrate as a pagan. And then that kind of goes into the ornaments that you put on the tree. You can put ornaments on the tree that represent your wishes, hopes, and dreams for the new year and the blessings that you want to receive or that you want to share with others. So when I think of the Christmas tree, we have the topper on top. And to me, that is, it sort of is the height of the tree. And it is, how do I put this? It's like, to me, the topper on the tree is very symbolic of, the season. And we have things like stars on there which represent light and how light is returning and light in the darkness. Some people put angels on their tree to represent, the message, is for Christians, it's like the angelic message that was sent that, Jesus was born. But I think it can also be messages from the other side, messages from the dead, good wishes, from the celestial realm. I have a little reindeer at the top of my tree. I have like a little plush reindeer guy that sits on the top of it. And to me, that represents, like the god and the return, the return of the sun god, and represents, kind of that more pagan sort of vibe that goes along with my tree. Balls are fertility symbols, just so you know. They're fertility symbols. They're symbols of abundance. So all of those beautiful balls, you can think about the colors on those balls. Maybe you have certain colors that you like. I do not have one of those trees where it is all like, everything matches and all perfect. My tree looks like joy threw up on it. And I think that's what I really like Christmas trees like that. I honestly think like sometimes the matchy can be a little boring. Cut that out. But yes, balls, think about the colors on them, what they represent. You think of like, for example, I have some that are red and burgundy, and they can represent fertility. They also represent wealth and abundance to me, especially that rich burgundy. The red as well, it can represent like the masculine. It can also be like love and romance. I have like some green ornaments on my tree, and that again is fertility and abundance. It's money, it's wealth. It's also health too. Like to me, green is health. And then I have these blue and silver ones, and to me, that's very representational of winter and calmness. Also, the silver to me is very much like a goddess color. So thinking about the colors and what they mean to you can be important. I also have like things like little snowman and birds and things representing sort of winter and nature. And birds also represent song too and creativity. Then we have stars, which represent light. And then, of course, over the years, I've collected all sorts of just different ornaments that make me think of the people that I love and the connection that I have with them. And so, to me, when we put the ornaments on the tree, when we put up our tree and then we decorate and stuff, it's sort of like all the joys of the past and also all of our wishes for the future, too. So, it represents all of those good things. So, it's very, very joyful. And of course, we're putting like, things like tinsel and lights on our tree, which is about like light as well, light in the darkness. And tinsel, like I have like the tinsel garlands to be, they made me think of winter and snow. So very much like there's connections with nature, even though it is a plastic tree. And, whether you have a real tree or you have a plastic tree, I don't think it really matters. It's what works for you, what you're comfortable with. Some people, they want to go out to, like those Christmas tree places where you can go and you can like cut them down yourself and take them home. And, they feel very, very good about that. And that's great too. It's also okay if you have like one that's like 20 years old that you took down and, take down from the attic and then put up. That's totally fine too. And those can be good too, because it's also about our connection with the past, right? And there's the importance of ritual and tradition. So also, there's ornament symbolism. Some people will paint like runes and things on ornaments and put them up on the tree, representing wishes. Some people will get those clear. You can get these clear ornaments where you can put things like confetti in. You can also put little wishes on little pieces of paper and put them up on the tree. That can be a really good thing to do too. That's relatively inexpensive. Also think about your other decorations that you're putting up, not just on the tree. Maybe there's like you put out reindeer, or you put out like, the blow up things on your live. There's like the inflatables. I know some people hate them. I personally love them. I think that they're very joyful and silly. And so thinking about some of those and some of the symbolism that they represent can be a great way to celebrate Yule. Maybe you put up a little statue, little thing of Santa Claus or Father Christmas, which, can be a stand-in for like Odin and all sorts of other gods, right? And he's the spirit of generosity and the spirit of giving. So having that in your house, nobody's really going to notice if you have like on your mantle, some statues of reindeer and Santa. They're not going to know that it's like a pagan altar. They're just going to think it's reindeers and Santa, right? So you can be like pretty covert in those kind of ways. I actually do have a little manger scene. It's so adorable. It's like these, they're these little, there's like a little chubby Mary and a little chubby Joseph. And it's, to me, it's part of my heritage because I was, raised Catholic and we always had that. To me, it's just part of honoring my heritage. And to me, it also represents like rebirth and the rebirth of the sun. So to me, it has like more than just the overt sort of like symbolism to it. And then, of course, we're looking at lights. It is in the Northern Hemisphere, the dark time of year. Being here in the prairies, Canada, it gets dark. I leave for work and it's dark. I come home and it's dark. Like we're at that point of the year. Like it's like dark, like night. It's like nighttime dark. Like it is nighttime when I leave. I leave my house and it's night, and I come home and it's night. That's how little sun we're getting right now. But putting light in the darkness. One thing that's nice living here is that people really go all out with the lights and things, and it makes things so cheerful. And even though it's dark, I love walking in my neighborhood and just seeing like the decorations and the lights people have. And I think it is a really wonderful way to spread the joy of Yule tide, the joy of Christmas, the joy of like whatever holiday. But specifically because we're talking about Yule, light in the darkness is a big symbol of Yule. It is all about the darkest time of the year. And to me, Yule is the season. It's not just the day. Like, I mean, yes, we have the winter solstice, to me kicks off the season in some ways. Like we have, to me, like that season goes from like, we kick it off with like solstice and it goes to New Year. And to me, that is like, those are all like holiday sacred days to me. To me, it's the season, but I know everybody sees it a little bit differently, right? But to me, like that light in the darkness and how light is returning. And so having, those, Christmas lights, fairy lights, whatever you call them out, is like the promise of that returning. And, having, you have people with colorful lights, you have people with the icicles, you have people with like flashing light. Like it's to me, it's like a wonderful, joyful expression. And, I really enjoy that. And that's why I like, putting them on lights too and sharing them with others. Because when you put out the lights, it's not just you that you're cheering up, you're also cheering up other people too. And then think about candles. Candles, light in the darkness. Not all of us can have like a big Yule log that we can, put on the fire. If you can, awesome. But for a lot of us, just even lighting a candle, and sometimes what I'll do for Yule is on the night of solstice, I'll have a bigger candle. I'll light it each night of those 12 nights, sort of reminding myself that light is returning, it's coming back, it's about warmth. It's sort of like a symbol of the hearth as well. So to me, that can be a really important symbolism too. Of course, like not everybody can have candles in their house or feel safe that way, but you can also get the ones that are like, they're not actual candles. They're like, they've got the battery in them and then you can turn them on. That's totally fine too. It's still a light. It does not have to be an actual candle. And you can be fancy if you have candles too. You can put sigils on the candle for the Yuletide season, picking out particular smells. I found a eggnog scented one in a jar. It's lovely. And to me just smells like the Yuletide, smells like Christmas. Also, obviously, gift giving is part of the season. Now, I think there can be a lot of pressure around giving lots of gifts and spending lots of money. You don't have to do that. People will still love you even if you can't afford gifts. And I know right now people are really feeling the pinch about things. So sometimes like just saying like, I can't really afford gifts this year. Sometimes we can do little things like making people cookies and giving to them. People love that, doing little things like that. It does not have to be extravagant. But when we give gifts, we're sharing love with people and also like receiving that love too. I think it's easier sometimes for us to give than to receive. And so like receiving those gifts and receiving that abundance from the universe can be really important too. Also, wrapping paper, the symbolism on the wrapping paper. Like if you're picking wrapping paper with like Santa Clauses on them, that's about like generosity. Your ones with like with reindeer on them, that's sort of honoring, like a covert way of honoring like the god. The symbolism of the stag, evergreen trees, like these are all like actually very pagan symbols. Even like snowmen represent like spirits of winter, so you can even express some of that in the wrapping paper that you're using. Also, thinking about food. Food is a big part of this year, and sharing food and making food, big part. So again, like sharing food with others is a wonderful way to share in the generosity of this season. And not everybody's a baker. That's okay. You can buy it and then give it to people. That's totally fine. But even, like giving food, sharing food, if you are someone that bakes, a lot of the spices of this time of year are all about prosperity and warmth. We think of all those warm spices like cinnamon and nutmeg and allspice, ginger. Cinnamon is like a creativity and prosperity spice. Ginger speeds things up. It's all about passion. So we're sharing these kind of energies with people when we put them into the food that we make. The food that we make too and eat can be connections with our ancestors. Things like you think about like some of the Christmas foods, especially the ones that I've enjoyed, they go back like hundreds of years. Things like Christmas cake, mince pies, eggnog, they're really old. They go back to like medieval times or perhaps further. And so you are engaging in tradition when you're eating these kind of foods. And these are just examples of ones I eat. I know there's tons of others out there. But we're engaging in connection with our ancestors when we eat these foods, when we make these foods. Also making favorite recipes. Like for those of you who have, been watching this channel, especially this year, you'll know that my mother-in-law unfortunately passed away this fall. And so I have like a couple of her cookie recipes I'm going to make because she can't be here, but her cookies can be here. And so doing stuff like that can be a really great way to connect with and honor the people that we love who may not be able to be with us right now. I find too that for me, Yuletide has a connection with ancestors because we think about like their traditions, and for a lot of people, they would visit or call or whatever certain people in their family around this time of year. And so it brings up, a lot of feelings, I think, around the people that maybe can't be with us anymore. And so I think it's really important that we honor that and that it's okay to be sad, like even amongst all of the joy, and to feel both those things. Also, it's okay if, there have been difficult things to still find joy in the little things in Yule. I think that's important, and Christmas or whatever you want to call it. I think that's important too this season. And also, I think one of the other things you can do is being with people. And I know, again, that's not possible for everybody, but if you can, like having people in your home, going to other people's homes, you're bringing the gift of yourself and having into other people's homes your joy and your love. And when you invite people over, you are sharing your love with others and having their joy and love come into your home. And I think that can be a wonderful way to end the year and to bring blessings into the new year, is to have people over during the holidays or go to other people during the holidays and to remind yourself of those connections, that we are connected to each other. So these are just some of my ideas for celebrating Yule that you probably are doing already anyway, because I'm all about keeping it real. Keeping it real? Yes, keeping it real, down to earth, that kind of thing. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for supporting me. If you're interested, you can check out my Patreon. I have weekly astrology and tarot videos, where I also have, on our coven level, we're talking about making goals for the new year. We're also rounding out our year of learning about tarot and astrology. So you can check that out too. It's not too late. You can definitely come and check it out with us. Also, if you want a year-end reading, you can check out my Etsy shop because I have a few of those going on. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and for all of your lovely comments and just being here. You guys are the best. And as always, peace and love.